Hi, welcome to week 7 and discussion number 3. We're going to be looking at market segmentation. This particular activity is a lot like the Kickstarter activity that we did. I'm asking you to go ahead and look at some information, to explore a site, see what's out there, to get that information and then share it back to the rest of the class. In this instance, because we're looking at, in Chapter 9, segmentation, targeting, and positioning, we're going to be looking at market segmentation specifically. Now, I want to tell you, this tool that we're going to be using, called Claritas, is a pay tool. So as a marketing tool for the site itself, they make some information available for us so that we can see how helpful we think this will be. But there's a lot that we can't see. If you're a small business person, you might purchase access to this type of information. If you're a large business, you might collect this information yourself internally. So kind of depends on what kind of business you have, how you might go about this. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look. So with most discussions, there's a little introduction at the top. But the first thing you're asked to do is to go to this particular link, and I will go there in just a second. The screen will look something like this, but I thought it might be helpful for you to have a bit of a walkthrough for this. We're going to look at the common Claritas My Best segments for the zip code that you choose. And then I'm asking you to describe the market segments and explain how you'd use that information in a meaningful way. One last thing, make sure that you make the subject of your post, the zip code you used, and the name of your city. You don't need to include your name or discussion number 3. We know it's you. It says so on the discussion board, and we know it's discussion number 3 because that's the form you're posted in. So let me go ahead back to the top here. I'm asking you first to click on this particular link. We're now in the Claritas My Best segments. Okay. So one of the things that you need to be careful of is how you use the data here, and I will show you sort of that little caveat right there. I'm going to use Normal, Illinois, so 61761, and I'll go ahead and submit that. This is the type of information it provides for me, so we'll give it a minute to load. All right, and it's going to actually give me some segment information. So it's telling me over here on the left that we have particular segments here. Exec number 10, executive suites, upscale middle age, mostly without with kids, this particular one. There's another down here, low income middle age, mostly without kids. So there are a variety of segments in this particular zip code. Now, what I will tell you is right down here is that it says you must log in to view segments in order of their predominant concentration of households within the selected zip code. So what does that mean? And this is something that I think can trip you up. It's telling us that these are segments that can be found in Normal, Illinois, but it does not tell us the strength to which those segments exist. It's not telling us that executive suites is the most predominant segment. So again, you have to take this and say, okay, this is very broad and very general because we're using this in a free way as opposed to a paid way. It's not going to give us the kind of detail. And by the way, I misspoke a minute ago when I said for Normal, Illinois. If you look, this zip code, and I didn't realize this, goes all the way out to Houghton and over here all the way down to Myrna. And honestly, I had no idea, and I don't even know what Carrick is. So you learn something new every day. I've been here, what, 23 years? 24 years, I guess? And I didn't know there was a town named Carrick up there. Anyway, so let's go ahead and, so we want to learn a little bit more. We're in Prism Premier, and let's say we want to look at this particular segment. So when we click on the title of that segment, it's going to give us some information. Kind of love this, actually. It's kind of fun. It says here our lifestyle and media traits for this particular segment. Owns a Mazda, eats at Starbucks, shops at Express, plays tennis, stays at the Radisson, visits NHL.com, listens to adult contemporary music. All right. We also get some demographic information. So it tells us down here, this is the particular age range. Yes, mostly this segment has kids. They own their own home. The profession they're in, they're management and professionals. And it's kind of interesting as you scroll down. I'm not able to scroll down anymore. Oh, there it is. Being a little slow here. We're going to get a little bit more information down here. It tells us the 5 top counties in the country where we might find this particular group of people. That's kind of good to know. And these particular tabs across the top here, we do not have access to because we're using the free version. So it gives us this little snapshot here of, the median household income, the number of U.S. households. About 1.31% of U.S. households fall into this particular segment. And it's kind of interesting. If you want to go ahead and zoom in on this map, I think this map is kind of fun to play with. It will actually show you, I'm going to drag this around, it'll actually show you where you can find the highest concentration of these particular types of households. And we can see actually right here in McLean County, that's looking pretty good here. For it being sort of an area where we might find a lot of those households. So while it doesn't tell us, yes, this is, the number of households, it's kind of telling us, yeah, there's a pretty good segment in this particular market. We can use the back button, go ahead and back, and we can explore the other segments in this particular zip code. Okay. By clicking on the various other segment names. What I didn't show you was down here at the bottom. We can learn some demographic information about this particular zip code. We can find out about the households, and I can pause this over here. We can find out about the population by age. It looks like we have quite a few young people here. Anybody have any ideas why we might have that? If you said, hey, Illinois State University is just down the road and a lot of those students actually live in this particular zip code, I'd say that's a pretty good guess. You can use this play button to navigate through, or you can click on the little buttons and it will show you, yes, this is predominantly white, not Hispanic or Latino. We can go back here and look at the households by income. If we have a lot of students, and I know that we have a lot of students, and I know a little bit more specifics about the demographics here, this under 25,000 represents a lot of a student population. So as you're looking here. Anyway, you can also look back through the other, I guess, different ways in which the market is segmented, and you can click on cycle here and look at some other segments, and you can look at connections and look at some other segments as well in the same way. So it will let you click on those and you can get a little more information about the kinds of segments that are here. One other place that I think is kind of fun to look around, and this is a zip code lookup, but there's also this tab, I guess you'd call it, called segment details. And if you look at segment details, I just saw there's an error on the page. Let's see if it turns up. Oh, good. It provides a list of sort of all of the various segments, which is kind of fun. And so you can poke around, say, hey, who are these particular segments? How are they slicing and dicing this particular information? What's the difference between 14 kids in cul-de-sacs and 15 new homesteaders? And you'll see right now, family life is highlighted here. All right, we can look at those that fit also into this particular segment of accumulated wealth. I guess we can drop this Yeah, well, I mean, we can look through here and say, okay, let's look at these different types of segments. And I think that's kind of interesting and fun. And there's lots of ways that you can use and think about this particular data. So I'm going to go back to the discussion and go back to this tab here and remind you that really I want you to explore this. I really want you to think about how could you use this information in a meaningful way. So that might be to you in your business. That could be to you in your job search, for example. That might be for you in your home life. You're choosing a new place to live, for example. Anyway, I'm really looking forward to see what you come up with this, because I think this is a tool that allows us to see the various ways in which information about consumers can be sliced and diced, and it gives us a chance to really think about, if I am a marketer, how do I take this information that's available and how do I use that to help me as a business? How do I help my business to be successful? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and go away now and let you get started. And by the way, I had planned to go ahead and do sort of a little picture of me there in the corner, but it was messing with my audio. This computer's a little bit older, so it was messing with my audio and I was getting a lot of lag. So I'm not going to do that for this time. The next time I'll switch computers and we'll see if I can't get a little video capture of me in there too, so you can see me and sort of get to know me a little bit better. All right, if you have any questions, please do post them. Have a wonderful week, and I'm looking forward to seeing you on the discussion board.